psychology allows individuals to reassess what is important in life, live more in the moment, to identify what they are grateful for, and to develop personal and interpersonal goals for recovery. Greetings from Kumaraguru College of Liberal Arts and Science. I'm Diya, doing my second year psychology, and I extend a warm welcome to each and everyone present for this virtual open house on Diploma in Positive Psychology. It gives me great privilege to introduce the facilitators for the course. Mrs. Kousalya, who is a developmental coach, consultant psychologist, counselor, and a psychoeducator specialized in transactional analysis. She's one of the National Coordinator of Transactional Analysis Proficiency Award, and ma'am also has 8 years of experience in counseling individuals and groups. Then we have Ms.Rema K. Giridhar, an educationist with 2 decades of experience in teaching. Ma'am is also an associate with KCC since 2016 as an elective facilitator for an internationally certified program, Transactional Analysis Proficiency Award for Young Children. And the speaker for today is Mrs. Swathi Priya. Ma'am is a counseling psychologist and a psychological researcher. She was also a de-addiction counselor at Chennai and a trainer at the Regional Resource Center. Her passion for psychology led her to pursue her master's in social work from Madras Christian College and a master's in the degree of research methods in psychology from the University of Southampton, United Kingdom. It's an honor to have you here with us, ma'am, and I hand over the session to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Diya. Thank you, Diya. Good evening, and thanks to each one of you for being here and showing interest in this diploma course in positive psychology. And it also gives me immense pleasure to be seeing you all this evening through this virtual open house. And so, as we all know in general, psychology is the field of psychology is very vast, yet a very interesting field that aims to understand human behaviors and alter those behaviors as necessary so the individuals are benefited. The field of psychology has several branches, and some of them are clinical psychology, social psychology, forensic, child, educational psychology, experimental psychology, criminal psychology, abnormal psychology, counseling psychology, health psychology, etc. And what are we here for today is to know in brief about this new and novel branch of psychology called the positive psychology. This field of psychology, the positive psychology, was founded in the early 20th century, and from then it has been gaining a tremendous momentum through these years, and this promises to be a very potential field of psychology for the future. So that is positive psychology. So what is positive psychology? So when you hear the term positive psychology, it sounds pretty much straightforward in its meaning, isn't it? But positive psychology is described in several ways using several words. Today, I bring to you a description that I believe kind of beautifully summarizes what positive psychology is. And here is the description. I will read it out for you. Positive psychology is the scientific study of what makes life worth living. What makes life worth living? Isn't this a very beautiful question to be asked and pondered about? Yes, positive psychology asks us what makes our life worth living instead of asking what are your problems. So this is the fundamental difference between other branches of psychology that I just mentioned and the branch of positive psychology. So what are your problems? This approach has been followed for centuries by other branches of psychology. This is a scientific method, and this is proven to be a working method and has produced several results, produced tremendous results, positive results for people who seek psychological support. While Positive psychology by asking what makes life worth living, positive psychology emphasizes on the factors and aspects that makes one's life worth living. In other words, that makes one feel that they are worth living, that they are happier and growing and flourishing. So basically, to put it in a nutshell, this is like this is an optimistic and going forward approach. Imagine this. Positive psychology gives us a practical guide, a working formula to lead the life that we want in a happier way, in a better way. If I urge you to run this phrase in your head, in your mind, what makes life worth living, we all will understand the meaning behind it in depth. So learning positive psychology, I told you, gives us a practical guide, a working formula. But this did not come out randomly. This is the research, this is the rigorous and systematic research that's been done over 20 years and still happening all over the world by various positive psychologists, and they have beautifully sculpted out several specific focused factors and aspects that, when one learns and follows systematically, can definitely better their life and flourish in their life and feel that their life is worth living. After all of us thrive and strive to get that feeling. You get what I say, right? All of us go behind that in our lives. We all do whatever we do just to have that feeling of, okay, my life is worth living. And research has also found that the systematic application of these factors in our day-to-day life can definitely yield nothing but the life that nothing but the life we want. So this is the fundamental difference between positive psychology and other branches of psychology, and what psychology entails and what it encompasses. Now, going forward to the focus of what are the specific areas, I told you that positive psychology contains a lot of specific factors and aspects, right? So what are they? Let's go into that. They are positive psychology focuses on positive experiences and positive traits. What are the positive experiences? They are happiness, joy, love, inspiration, etc. These terms are definitely not new to us. We come across these terms every day in and day out in our lives. Positive psychology takes this to another level by giving us a systematic process to attain these experiences, to become aware of these experiences, and to have more of these experiences, and to rejoice these experiences again and again, so that we move forward in life. And talking about positive traits, positive psychology deals with a lot of positive traits, and I've mentioned some here. They are gratitude, meaning in life, optimism, well-being, mindfulness, resilience, self-esteem, and compassion. Again, when positive psychology is learned in depth, it shows us a systematic manner in which all of these traits can be taught. All of these traits can be learned, applied in our day-to-day life in a very at ease, and then we can move forward and go where we want to go finally. And so this is the scope of positive psychology. The more we go into it, it becomes very, very, very interesting. So now let's coming to what this diploma course has to offer you. Out of this large scope of positive psychology that I just named, this diploma course will cover three main aspects of positive psychology in depth, and they are mindfulness, resilience, and optimism. So why these three in this diploma course? So learning these three to begin with in depth, which this course will offer you, will allow you to learn in depth. This will kind of cover the major portion of positive psychology. And when you are equipped with knowledge of these three in depth, you are automatically equipped. You are an autopilot to learn other aspects of positive psychology as you go forward in this journey. Because psychology, by its psychology as such, and positive psychology, you cannot contain that contain that into a specific period. When you start into it, it's like a river. It keeps flowing, and you go deeper, 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 and you enjoy and you keep learning. So to begin with, this diploma course offers these three topics in depth, which will equip you to understand and study all other factors of positive psychology, all other aspects of positive psychology very easily by interconnecting one another. Because after all of it is interconnected. All of the aspects of it, positive psychology, are interconnected. It goes hand in hand. Nothing stands independently. And the beauty of this course is also that it also teaches you general psychology that anybody can be benefited from, irrespective of their background. So to give you a little introduction about mindfulness, resilience, and optimism, again, these are terms that we come across day in and day out. These are not very new to us, but yet I will still go ahead explaining these three in brief. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the state of mind, the profound state of mind of being in present, being in the moment, in all the activities and behaviors that one exhibits. It's that knowing fully yourself and what you do. This is a very profound state of mind, and positive psychology gives a very science-based, a scientific approach to attaining this mindfulness, this state of mind. Coming to resilience, what is resilience? It's called bouncing back. When you have a setback, when you have a hardship, when you have fallen down, how do you get up? How do you come back and move forward? In how do you pursue? How do you move forward? How do you resume, move forward in doing rest of the activities with energy and optimism, with positive attitude? And coming to optimism, this is a very beautiful concept. This is only a light shift in the perspective that you make internally that shows a very new world, a very different world to you in front of you. This is like the outlook. This is how you see things that is happening in front of you, within yourself and around you. So all these three put together is like a big ball of magic that can change your life in a very different way, and will also equip you so much knowledge wise. And again, like I told you, general psychology will give you a background of psychology itself, that anybody can understand irrespective of their background. So next, coming to the structure of the program, the duration of this diploma course is 6 months, and the eligibility is 12th standard higher secondary education. And this course is affiliated to Bharatiyar University. The teaching methodology will be a blended method. To start off, we will go online, and then when the regular college resumes, it will become an offline course based on how the situation is. And the timing for this course is, we will have 9 hours a week. That is, weekdays there will be evening classes and also classes during the weekends. Once the program resumes, the timetable will be shared, and the medium of instruction and examination will be in English. So I briefly mentioned about what you will be studying in this course, the three main aspects and general psychology. Now I will specifically mention name of the courses. They are Introduction to Positive Psychology, Mindfulness for Well-being, Optimism and Resilience. And the most interesting part of this course is the project. Each one of you who enroll will engage in a research project of your own, starting from thinking of a project, an area that you would love to work, that your heart says that you should work. And with the guidance of the faculty, you will be coming out with a beautiful piece of research that will contribute, that will be definitely be a contribution to the scientific world community of positive psychology. And that's, according to me, this is another interesting aspect of the course, along with the topics that you will study. So this is about positive psychology and the diploma course in brief. So now the forum is open to questions. You can ask us any questions that you have, and we will try to answer as best as possible. Thank you so much for listening.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, Dia.
Ma'am, we have a question.
Sure.
How far BSc and this diploma is different? It's a
Okay,
question from
Okay, so how
yes,
far BSc psychology and this diploma in positive psychology is different? Thank you for
yes,
this question, Mr. Ravi. So BSc psychology basically covers psychology from scratch, and it has a bit of all aspects of psychology. It doesn't specifically focus on one branch of psychology per se, but diploma in positive psychology, you will get introduced to general psychology a bit to just get into the topic, get into the field of psychology, to know psychology, the background a bit. But the focus will be completely on positive psychology. Like you will learn about positive psychology. Of course, we will discuss a lot of things that comes allied to this, whichever part of psychology, other parts of psychology that is relevant to positive psychology, but primary focus will be positive psychology. But BSc psychology as a degree gives a general introduction to the wide plethora of psychology. This is very focused to positive psychology. In basic psychology, students might learn a bit about a chapter or a bit about positive psychology, but this is exclusively for positive psychology. I hope that answers your question.
yes, ma'am. That is very nice question answer. And the next question is: I am from IT sector. What type of project it will have during the course?
What type of project? What type of project will be done during the course? Okay.
It
What
will.
type of project? Okay, so the type of projects, you're from IT background. You know, IT background does help you. It does help in learning psychology, because irrespective of the background, it's human beings that we are dealing with. So you will have a lot of examples from your scenario, your situation. So that will add a lot of value to your learning. Definitely, definitely add a lot of value to your learning from my point of view. And the project that you will be doing is, you can be doing is like anybody else. It will be similar, similar or same to anybody any of your colleagues. It would be like a psychology somebody from psychology background would be doing something, and you would be doing similar to what they do, or whatever interests you in terms of psychology. um, so you would not have any difficulty in doing any project, unless that boils down to your interest. This is one. Another aspect of project what kind of projects you can do is that you can start off with case studies. You can start off analyzing case studies. You can also do short surveys in the time that is given for the project. You can do short surveys, and you can also conduct focus group discussions and do a mini qualitative study. And there are many options for project, Mr. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. There are many options for project. So field doesn't matter really, but as you study, what interests you, what topic or what area interests you, matters is all what matters.
And we have a question from Leka. Ma'am,
Okay.
I'm already studying psychology. So would it be good to choose positive psychology?
Okay, so Lekha already is studying psychology, and she's asking if it would be good to choose positive psychology. Absolutely, Lekha. Like I said, I assume you study bachelor's, or even if it's master's. You would have an understanding of several things in psychology. Now, if you choose positive psychology, that will streamline your pathway into your profession as a psychologist. And personally also, you will get to know a lot about not a lot about this particular stream of psychology, if this really interests you. This applies to anybody. For example, if somebody else picks clinical psychology, uh, in clinical psychology as a specialization in their bachelor's or in their masters, they would have learned the entire spread of psychology. They would have known something of all of it. But any specialization they choose, they streamline, they narrow down, and they get into their niche area of practice or teaching or research, whatever that is. I hope that answers, Lekha.
Yeah, ma'am, next question by Mr. Mohammed Ibrahim. Any
Mhm.
practical experience that will be offered during the course?
Okay, so practical, I would like to clarify what practical experience is. It can be understood in two ways, at least two ways. Number one is going into the field, like going into counseling centers or hospitals, meeting people outside in person, and practicing. That is one type of practical experience in general. And another type of practical experience is engaging in in-house discussions, engaging in in-house different types of assignments. Uh, when psychology is concerned, the type of assignments that we do itself is very practical. It is even though we write descriptions of people, we do case studies, that itself becomes a very practical experience of very practical experience by itself. So at this point of time, I'm not sure of practical experience that I mentioned, that I talked about first, wherein going outside and meeting people in hospitals and psychological settings as such. But there is definitely practical experience to you by doing different forms of activities, like doing case studies, getting into in-house discussions, and watching movies, doing a lot of movie reviews. That is one form of that is a great practical experience to know psychology in depth, to analyze characters, to analyze behaviors from movies, from series that we watch, from family. And yeah, it goes on.
Ma'am, a question on how about placement assistance through this course?
Placement assistance to this course. Okay, may I request Leo sir uh, to direct this to the the right person to answer this question? Yeah, thank you.
To answer that question, this is a diploma course where it can be a beginning of lot of learning and paying way to a lot of other certifications. Where this can be an initial step for you, but this whole positive psychology course would definitely help your self growth as well as a stepping stone to a lot of wide knowledge arena that we have. So positive psychology itself has a lot of scope, but just with the diploma, we wouldn't assure you would be placed or you would be able to practice. But this would be a stepping stone to understand the concept and to see, oh, are you really passionate about it, and to pursue further in this stream. I hope that answers.
Thanks, Sanju.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have a question by Sayane. Will you also teach us the way to avoid toxic positivity?
Okay, that's a good question. Of course. So I was a couple of days Saidi, a couple of days ago, I was reading a paper, and how and it beautifully explained how positivity can become toxic sometimes when it's overboard. And that paper also talked about how positivity or optimism or resilience or anything of that sort, the positive traits that we talk about, that cannot be enforced upon a person without their willingness. So when we learn whatever we learn in positive psychology, it always comes with what should be done and what should not be done. So that is up that is the that what say that is the sense of knowledge that we will get when we learn psychology as such, any subject for that matter, what should be done, what should not be done. Especially when we learn positive psychology, when we hear a lot about positive things, it automatically gives us the process of learning itself gives us an understanding, a sense of understanding to segregate between these two and choose what is necessary, what is appropriate, what is optimum, and then eradicate the rest, which can become toxic if we add to it. So of course, your journey itself, the process of learning itself, will equip you to do that. Of course, the faculty will also be there, but you will automatically have that ability to do it.
Thank you, ma'am. And we have another question from Mr. Mohammed Ibrahim. Exercises to practice on mindfulness, optimism.
Okay. So Ibrahim's question is, will there be exercises on mindful to
Yes,
practice mindfulness? And of course,
mindfulness.
of course. Of course, there will be exercises on mindfulness and optimism. There are several exercises, and there are also research done in many people around the world do research on specific exercises. That's what I meant by systematic approach to learning mindfulness, optimism, gratitude, and all of that, and following it. Yeah, there will definitely be exercises.
And there's a question from Harish Rubin. When is the classes starting, and doesn't it affect us as during class hours, as it is 9 hours a week?
Okay, so the classes start in the month of October. We will confirm the exact date very soon, but the classes start in October. Sanju, would you be able to answer the second part of the question?
Yes, sure.
Thanks,
So
Sanju.
Harish Rupin, we have allocated the hours in a way that it will not overlap with any of your. So we are expecting a mixed crowd where we will have professionals who will be working, and we will have housewives, we will have students. So we have our classes allocated during the week. On weekends we have it on evenings, and on Saturdays. So evenings probably from 6 to 7, 7:30. So it's not going to be jam packed with 3 hours, 4 hours at a stretch. We have just distributed throughout the week to make it easier for the candidate or student to take up the course. So for sure, it wouldn't be a burden. In fact, you would love learning positive psychology, as you will feel that change in self. So definitely, you'd be loving to learn that.
Thanks, Sanju.
Thanks, Harish, for the question. Yes, thank you, Swati.
Swati, may I add in to
Sure,
some
ma'am.
of the questions which you
Of,
already answered?
of course, ma'am.
Uh, like um, like how Swati and Sanju said, this course is about understanding the human behavior as such, but it is more about knowing one's own self, understanding who we are and why we do certain things, and what will help, and what will not help. And the more and more you whatever you learn and you apply in one's own life, that itself becomes a huge lifetime project. And that is why we call the projects are very experiential, in the sense like what you learn, how you practice in your own life. So once we expand as a human being in whatever role we take in, we do spill what we have, so thereby people around us also expand. So this course is more about one's own self and understanding one's own self, and how to make one's own self strong enough, positive enough to continue the journey and take people alongside in the journey in a similar pathway. So that's wherein I wanted to add some points. And
Absolutely, ma'am.
the positive toxicness was like, in fact, very amusing, because sometimes, we do not know when something is like too much, So I wouldn't call it as a toxic trait, because anything positive remains positive. It cannot be contaminated. So I wouldn't call it toxic, but then it is also important where to draw the boundaries of who we are and what we do and the characteristic traits that we have. So it's more about fixing the boundaries. So that is also part of this course. I mean, part of contents of this course, which you will be learning in terms of exercises, in terms of understanding, and in terms of experiencing it. So basically, it is to build awareness and therefore make you skilled in the resources that are available within you and then help you to practice it.
Thank you, ma'am. That was really nice. And we have a question from Keshav. Uh, how this course will help me as I am working in automobiles?
Rema ma'am, would you want to answer that?
Okay, so I have partially answered that in answering the previous questions. So it is immaterial about what role we play in what industry we are in. We are basically human beings and we deal with human beings. Of course, in automobiles, you also deal with machines. But psychology is more about human behavior and interpersonal communication. It doesn't matter what roles we play, what positions we are in, what industry we are in. It just boils down to the fact that we communicate with another human being, and that's where we face limitations, difficulties, and issues, and also we gain our resources and strengths. So psychology is about human behaviors and human communications. So it is also important for people who don't work in any framework, like any corporate framework or any industry framework, people who are homemakers. You have to deal with people in the house as a family, as maid, as in-laws, as parents, as siblings. We constantly keep engaging ourselves with another human being. So that is where it is very important to understand, first of all, who we are before we turn the mirror to see who they are. So the roles and other corporate tags and the frameworks are immaterial, because this is the core aspect of the goal of the subject, and also in general with psychology and human behaviors. Am I audible? Because I just had a note saying like it is the voice is low. I hope I was audible and answered the questions.
Yes, ma'am, you were audible.
All
Thank you,
right.
ma'am. And participants, if you have any questions, please feel free to post your questions in the chat box.
Sanju, you have a message.
If you have any further questions, you can post the questions in the chat box.
Okay, I hope all of you who are listening had an idea of what positive psychology is.
Uh,
More idea if you already have, and about a clear picture about what this course will offer you and how it is going to be offered. So, if you have more questions, you can post to us. We will be happy to answer. And over to
There is
Sanju.
one more question from Lekha regarding the fee payment. Ma'am, should we make separate payment for these courses? Lekha, if I hope you are a undergraduate student in Kumraguru College. Yes, Lekha, this would be a separate course where you would be this course is affiliated to Bardha University, and you would be getting a certificate by the end of the semester once you complete with sufficient requirements of the course. You can check up the website. We have information regarding the admission process and the fee structure in the website. Please go through it. And we also have the module and other details, basic course structure up on the website. Please go through it, and I hope that helps. Thank you, Lega. Thank you for the question. Uh, yes. So if you have any queries, you can always get back to us. The contact numbers and the link is scrolling down. Please get back to us if you have any queries or doubts.
Sanju, at the end of this course, in what mode are we assessed?
At the end of the course, we have a examination. So as this is affiliated to Bardha University, we have an external examination that would be conducted by the university. And for the project, we will have the viva, and your project submission will be evaluated. So the scores would be out of 100 for the theory papers, where you have to take up your external exam for 75, and you will also have an internal score which would be given by the concerned faculty. So it's more like the undergraduate program that we will all be having, uh, but the assessment would be an examination pattern for sure. Yes. In between, the internal assessments would be done by the faculty according to the course structure, and that would be tailor made according to the course. So every course requires different kinds of assessment pattern, and every unit or every topic needs different kinds of assessment. It's not an assessment, but to make sure that we all are on the same page. So we will have a small assessments like that, but the major examination would be from the Bardha University. From it would be an external examination. For the project, we will have internal scores of 40 and external score of 60. For the 60 marks, you should be attending a viva, and also your submission of the project would matter. Thank you. Thank you for that question. Thank you so much, everyone. Please get back to us, and please go through the details that's up on the website. Uh, yes, uh, yes, I would like to hand over the platform to Dia. Thank you, Swathi, for the session, for the informative session. Over to you, Dia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanju.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am, for enlightening us about positive psychology and also sharing the course details of diploma in positive psychology. And indeed, positive psychology is the need of the hour, especially when we are facing such difficult and uncertain times. I would also like to thank the other faculties, Kausalya ma'am and Rema ma'am, who joined us throughout the session and contributing a lot, answering the questions. And I also take this opportunity to thank Dr. Vijay Kennedy, our Vice Principal, Dr. Shanti, the management for their consistent support, and the Wiscom team for their technical support. And on behalf of the Department of Psychology of class, I thank all the participants for their patient listening and making it an interactive session. Wishing you all a great learning experience with us, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.